See these lines? They're why your prints look amateur. If you've ever wondered why your 3D prints look like they were made in your garage while others look factory made, you're about to discover something that nobody tells beginners. There are 3 secrets hiding in your slicer. Most people only know about one, and the third one, it's going to seem counterintuitive, but stick around to the end because I'm going to show you a combination that can save hours on large prints while actually improving quality. Sound too good to be true? Good. This is the first video of many in a new series on 3D printing for beginners. Hit subscribe now so you don't miss an episode. Let's solve this mystery. Here's what happened. In the beginning, I printed well over a spool's worth of test prints, trying to figure out why all the YouTubers' prints out there looked professional while mine looked like, well, they looked printed, chunky, obvious, amateur. Every tutorial said the same thing. Use 0.2mm layer height. Done. Moving on. But they never explained the why. They never showed what happens when you question the defaults. And they definitely never revealed that layer height has a partner, a setting that changes everything. But almost nobody adjusts it. Today, we're going to uncover 3 secrets, and I'm going to show you exactly what changes between these prints, step by step, so you can stop guessing and start getting predictable results. Let's start with secret number 1. Imagine you need to build a smooth curve, but all you have are these. It's impossible, right? You can see every single step, unless you change the building blocks themselves. Layer height works exactly like this. Your 3D printer is stacking layers, literal building blocks of melted plastic. At 0.3mm layer height, for example, you're using chunky Lego bricks. Each layer is thick enough that you can see the steps on any curve or angle from across the room. But at 0.1mm layers, you're using those tiny plates, building up details so fine that curves look almost injection molded. This is secret number 1. Layer height controls the resolution of your print, the smoothness of every curve, every overhang, every detail. But here's where almost everyone stops learning, and it's a mistake because layer height doesn't work alone. There's another number in your slicer. Do you see it? Right there. Line width. Think of it like choosing a paintbrush. A thick brush covers huge areas quickly, but you can't do fine detail work. A thin brush gives you precision, but takes forever to fill large spaces. Line width works the same way. Most slicers automatically set this to 0.4mm because most nozzles are 0.4mm. It's logical. Makes sense. But here's secret number 2. You can change this number. And when you do, you unlock greater control. Line width controls how thick each strand of plastic is as your nozzle traces each layer. Wider lines means fewer passes to fill the same space. Narrower lines means more precision, but more time. And this is where it gets interesting, because layer height and line width don't just exist side by side. They work together as a team. And when you understand that relationship, that's when you unlock secret number 3. I needed to see this relationship with my own eyes, so I ran an experiment. Test 1, standard, what everyone uses. Test 2, thicker layers, same line width. Test 3, same layers, but wider lines. Test 4, fine everything, maximum detail. The results changed everything for me. Test 1 showed decent quality, reasonable time, the baseline. Test 2, about 6 minutes faster than baseline, yes, but you can see every layer line on the curves. Test 4, this looks like it came from a factory, injection molded smooth. But it took almost 25% longer than the baseline. But test 3, this is where the rules start to break. wider lines, but same layer height. It printed about 10% faster than the baseline model, which on even larger models could scale into hours saved. And here's the part that seemed impossible when I first saw it. The surface quality is nearly identical. How is this possible? Because layer height primarily controls the smoothness of curves and overhangs, the vertical resolution of the piece. But line width mainly changes how many back and forth passes your nozzle needs to fill the same area horizontally. It also nudges part strength and edge detail. Fewer passes means faster prints, but the curve quality, determined by layer height, stays the same. This is secret number 3. Layer height and line width aren't competing settings. They're partners. And when you adjust them together strategically, you can break what seems like an impossible trade-off between speed and quality. Now, here's where theory meets reality. I wasted dozens of prints, tested every combination before I figured out the limits. When you need fast prototypes or draft quality, 0.3 layers with 0.6 lines. You'll save time and possibly even some filament as your model size scales. For everyday prints with good quality, I actually still recommend starting with where your slicer defaults you to, 0.2 layers with 0.4 lines. This is your baseline. It's balanced and reliable. But once you're comfortable, experiment with pushing the line width higher to reduce passes and save time. When you want high detail that still prints reasonably fast, 0.15 layers with 0.35 lines. Just know that as you print larger items, this means longer prints and more material. For maximum detail, when time doesn't matter, 0.1 layers with 0.3 lines. In my opinion, this is best suited for small miniatures and other fine detail models. These combinations give you control over the speed versus quality trade-off that defines every single print decision you'll ever make. Understanding this relationship changes everything. You're no longer just accepting whatever defaults your slicer gives you. You're not randomly adjusting numbers, hoping something works. But here's the deeper insight that took me months to really understand. Layer height and line width aren't separate settings that happen to live in the same slicer menu. They're partners in a dance that determines everything about your print's outcome. Master this relationship and you stop wasting filament on failed experiments. You stop wondering why your prints don't match the photos. You start getting predictable, professional results. This foundation, understanding how these fundamental settings actually work instead of just memorizing magic numbers, this is what separates people who struggle with 3D printing from people who make it look effortless. These two settings form the foundation that every other slicer setting builds on. Print speed, temperature, infill patterns, support structures, they all make logical sense once you understand how layers and lines work together to create your physical object. Coming up in this series, we'll dive into even more settings. No memorizing random numbers, just clear explanations of how these things actually affect your prints and practical limits you can trust. Because 3D printing shouldn't require an engineering degree to get consistent results. I'm curious, drop a comment telling me about your most frustrating print failure. Chances are high that it might trace back to layer height or line width settings that were fighting against each other instead of working together. Your prints are about to get a lot more predictable and a lot more intentional. Now go solve your own mystery. Thanks for watching.